Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. So today's video I have something a little bit more colourful and fun for you. It's definitely a festival inspired look. I mean, I'm not sure you'd wear this to the grocery store. Why did I call it a grocery store? A supermarket. Whatever. I'm sure you won't wear it every day, but you never know. Yeah, hopefully we're going to be allowed out. Well, here in the UK we're kind of allowed out. They're saying that, of course I've got powder on my top. They're saying that we can maybe have festivals, but you know, this is just a bit of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it and hopefully you learned something. So if you do want to see how I got this look right here, then just keep on watching. Okay, so for foundation, I'm going to use the MAC Face and Body foundation. And I've got it in the shade, I'm going to mix, I've got like a little sample. So I'm going to mix N1 with C7 because I'm like, definitely in between. C7 is way too dark. So I'm just going to mix the two together. So Face and Body is a very, very sheer foundation, but I quite like using it with other cream products. When you know you're going to kind of use quite a lot of cream products, sometimes going in with a really heavy foundation, you can kind of feel like you've got so much on your skin, especially if you're using like powder products on top. So I quite like using this with like a fuller coverage concealer. And this foundation, it basically just looks like skin. It's really, really nice on holiday if you don't want kind of like too much. And obviously, as the name suggests, it's really nice on the body. But I am kind of preferring more natural coverage at the moment, just because, I don't know, it just looks a bit more flattering on my skin. At the moment, I don't know, I feel like when I wear really full coverage, it just enhances texture that I never knew I had. And sometimes I just go in with my hands. I don't know why, but this foundation blends in really nicely with your fingers. So I can just go in with my fingers and tap off any excess. You can see that has just given me a little bit of a tint, but still looks really natural. So it's definitely a sheer foundation because you can kind of still see my skin underneath, but I don't mind that too much because, like I said, we can go in with concealer afterwards. Yes, I haven't worn that foundation in so long. I forgot how much I love it. Sorry, excuse my hand. I was swatching stuff earlier. I'm going to use the Pink Honey Brow Glue. So this is the original one. So I feel like you kind of have to use this first because it can get on your foundation. But because I haven't really like done much to my skin, I can kind of get away with it. Just start to work that in to the brow hairs, and I kind of go back on myself and I kind of go opposite. So that way you coat the underneath of the brow hairs, so when they kind of stick down, they don't lift, so they've kind of got something to stick to. Whereas if you just do it on top, they just end up kind of lifting slightly, I found. Then I just kind of brush them. If you feel like you need to kind of make it wet again, you can. Because sometimes it can kind of dry and then go flaky, so just respray your brush. So yeah, as you can see, I've still got quite a lot missing at the brow, at the end of the tail, but we can obviously just fill that in with brow gel. So because my brow hairs are kind of growing in on the side, I'm going to go in with concealer underneath the brow bone. So this is in the shade Light Sand. So it's just going to kind of give me a little bit of a highlight and also help to hide any of those stray hairs, because I'm really trying to refrain from plucking them out, because I just think once it kind of grows in, I feel like that brow isn't too bad, considering it's normally my bad brow. It's definitely different to how I usually do it, but I feel like doing it this way you're giving yourself a bit of a guide. If I use the gel, if I use the brow gel, I don't know, it's hard to follow a shape when there's not really a solid shape there, because obviously they're growing back in. So I find doing the concealer first gives you a little bit of a guide. Then that way I can kind of see the exact gaps that I need to fill in there. So the brow gel that I'm using is by Morphe. It is in the shade Hazelnut, and I'm using a Morphe brush as well with the spoolie on the end. Okie dokie. Right, so I'm not really going to fill it in. I'm going to kind of try and do tiny little strokes to kind of mimic brow hairs in any of the gaps that I might have, and also extend the tail slightly. I would say this is definitely like one of the hardest kind of brow styles to do. Like, I don't know, it just takes me so long. And then I kind of thicken up the tail as well, so it doesn't like dip down like so. So because I don't really have hair there, but I prefer to kind of just draw on the tail rather than do little tiny motions. So for my under eye concealer, I'm going to use the Too Faced Born This Way Sculpting Concealer. This is in the shade Shortbread, and I'm going to use this underneath the eye. And I find a little bit goes a long way with this, so I'm going to use my sponge to dab it in. Also, this sponge is brown, like it's not really dirty. And I'm just going to dab that up and down. See how like far it spreads? And this is a little bit lighter than the foundation that I used, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And take it up to the top of the cheekbone as well. And sometimes with these kind of products, with the face and body and concealer, it works quite well when you use your finger to kind of dab it in. So you kind of really merge the two together, and the warmth of your finger will help melt the concealer into your foundation. And then before we move on to powder, I am going to use a cream bronzer. Well, this is actually a concealer, but I quite like using it as a bronzer. So this is in the shade, what colour are you? This is in the shade Natural. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just a fair few shades darker than my natural skin tone. So I'm just going to do a few dots around the forehead. And then I'm literally just going to use that same brush as before, because it's still got a little bit of the foundation on. I'm just going to take the excess off on my arm. And then just lightly blend it in. And that is the nice thing about, the face and body foundation, is because it's so, like, the texture is super silky. It doesn't set down too much, that's the only thing, but I don't mind it too much. But it just means any cream products you put on your skin, it just literally melts straight away. Right, so I did forget, I'm going to use cream highlighter as well, which I have used in my videos before. This is the Iconic London Illuminator in Original. And this is one of those products where you need like the tiniest amount, so just do a little dot on top of my cheeks. I find the best way is to blend it in with my finger. Just kind of dab that up and down. It just blends in effortlessly. More than a woman. Pardon me. Another Iconic London product, I'm going to use the sheer blush in Cheeky Coral. So these blushes they pretty much do what they say. They are so sheer. So yeah, even if you go overboard with them, like, you can't really go wrong. Oopsie daisy, I just dropped it on my top. Oh god, yeah, this isn't really the correct way or the sanitary way, but it's just easy, you know. And literally the same with this, I just use my finger, but if I ever feel like I've got kind of too much product on there, I just lightly bounce my sponge up and down, and that just kind of picks up any of the excess product. Right, I've just turned my lamp down just so you can see a little bit better. But yeah, is this lighting better? I've just turned my ring light down like loads, but I think because I'm looking at it in the viewfinder and I'm here, I feel like it looks too dark, but I'm not sure. And then that's brighter. I don't know, let me know now or just before. So now that we have all of our cream products on, I'm going to set the centre of the skin with powder. This is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Pound Cake. So as you know, I mean, I've used this for ages and it's still got so much in there. And I think it's pretty much my favourite powder, to be honest with you. I just find that, I don't know, I just like the texture of it, the smell. It's very overpowering if you do too much. I think it's because it kind of gives the skin a really nice, like, velvety, like, blurring kind of effect. Obviously it doesn't completely get rid of pores, but it definitely kind of helps to blur. So I like using it on a flat brush. This is a MAC 129. And I do kind of get any creases out. I try not to do too much powder with this kind of look, just because I want it to be, you know, nice and fresh, but because I am oily, I do need a little bit of powder. Just a tiny bit on the chin, a little bit where my pores are. And then I don't really do too much underneath the eyes. I do a tiny bit in the corner, but I still want to keep like this bit really nice and glowy. A little bit between the brows, because that's where I'm getting wrinkles. And then I quite like a glowy forehead, so I kind of leave that, to be honest. And then a very, very light layer or veil of it over my cheeks. I'm going to go over that cream blush because it is so sheer. I do feel like once I've got my eye makeup on, it will kind of fade away, but it's nice to wear as a base. But I'm going to go over the top of that with Nars Taj Mahal blush, which is, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's like that. Oh my god, yeah. This is new, but the only thing with Nars packaging, it gets so dirty, but I love it nonetheless. So yeah, this is a really nice orangey blush. Perfect for summer because it gives such a nice like sheen to the skin. Then I do feel like I need a little bit of a contour because that bronzer was more so just to warm up the skin. I'm going to use the Kiko Bronzer in Flawless Fusion 02. So this is, as you can see, more cool tone. So it's going to kind of act as more of a contour and help shape the face. And because we haven't completely set this area, you always want to tap your powder in when it's not completely set, just to avoid the kind of powder from skipping and going patchy. Like so. And whatever's left from that blusher, I'm just going to pop on my nose. Does anyone else's nose always go patchy? Like, it just always goes all like dry. Right, I'm really happy with this skin. Like, I can't get over that I'm only wearing face and body and concealer. Like, me 5 years ago would be wearing MAC Studio Fix Fluid. Like, it's mad how, like, you can still see my blemishes, but I don't feel, like, self-conscious. Very weird. And I was just on Instagram, just taking some pictures for my stories, and I would always be, like, so tempted to use a filter or use, like, the Paris one, you know, the one that, like, makes you really smooth. But I didn't, and, yeah, I feel, like, proud of myself. Only because, well, I was like zooming in and my skin looked horrible, like so textured. Like, I do have like texture on my skin that you can't really see from like this far away, maybe a little bit. And yeah, I was like, oh my god, it looks awful, I can't post that, da da da. But then you're like, at the end of the day, I'm zoomed in on an iPhone, one, it picks up every little thing, and I feel like it makes your skin look worse than it actually is, and two, like, no one's going to be looking at your skin close up like that. So yeah, I saved it without a filter, and I was pretty proud of myself. Just because I've been seeing a lot of people on Instagram kind of being a little bit more raw, and yeah, I just think it's like so important to kind of show that side, because even me, like, I look at other people's like photos and I like know that they've got a filter, and or if they haven't got a filter on and they still look nice and put together, and I'm like, why don't I look like that? Like, but at the end of the day, they're only going to show you what they want you to see, kind of thing. So like, they're never going to show you their worst. You know, when I'm like looking in the mirror and I'm scrolling on Instagram and I actually look like a bloody wreck. And obviously you're going to feel like that because you're looking your worst whilst looking at someone at their best. And that is like, you know, 5% or even less of their life that they're showing you. And yeah, it's just mad. They're like, we compare ourselves to these people online when, you know, they probably don't even look like that half the time. So yeah, I just feel like I've, you know, I thought I wasn't recording then. I think I've hit a kind of turning point, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I will always have my down days where you know, when you suffer from like serious imposter syndrome, like I do massively, and I really doubt myself. I've got like what I think I have imperfections that I've never really thought about before. And then other days I'm like, yes, queen, you go, girl. But yeah, I think it's just normal and it's okay to show that kind of side, to be honest. And I think it's important for other people to see that side of you. But it's crazy how a lot of the imperfections that you think you have, people don't even notice. So I'm just, you know, learning to not worry about those things because they are not the most important things about me. Sorry, that was a bit of a bit more personal there, but I think it's definitely important to talk about. Sorry, I was just using my P. Louise base in Room 3, just patting that all over the lid. The first colour I'm going to go in with is the shade, oh god, sorry, I'm not used to this camera. So the first colour that I'm going to go in with is the shade Flashlight, which is the yellow in the palette. And I'm firstly going to start off that. Oh no, I was going to use a base under this one. I know I have that P. Louise base on, but I still feel like I need something for the yellow to like, I feel like I still need a base for the yellow to pop. Wait, that didn't make sense. I still feel like I need something to help the yellow pop, so I'm going to use the P. Louise base in Yummy Yellow. This isn't like really pigmented, it is very light, but I still feel like it's going to help it just a tad. So I'm just going to pop that on the inner corner. And of course you don't have to use a base necessarily, because as long as you use something tacky, but I'm hoping this will help make it stand out a little bit more, because also it is lighter than that base. You could just use like a white base all over the lid. And then I'm just going to diffuse out the edges. See what I mean? When you like blend it out, it kind of just blends into like a white. It kind of looks white. You know, every little helps. Is that a Tesco saying? Every little helps. Ooh, also on the subject of like filters and stuff, sorry, just going back to it. What do you guys think on the Khloe Kardashian situation? So if you didn't know, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows, but yeah, I think a photo got leaked of Khloe, like unedited, And she just looked like a normal girl. Like, it just looked like, you know, how me or you were on the beach and we just posed. I mean, to be honest, her body is insane. So I'd love to have her body like it was in that photo. But you could kind of tell that it was definitely raw and it was unedited compared to her kind of Instagram photos that she kind of puts out, because they're very, you know, she has a similar body shape in both of those kind of photos, but you can tell it's kind of like been smoothed, you know, the shape has been altered, like it's quite obvious. But I mean, the Kardashians, they're the kind of, like, you know, when you look at their Instagrams, they've obviously had surgery done. You do look at those photos and you're like, wow, like they're so like perfect, whatever you define as perfect. And it's mad how that, you know, that's not real, but people will probably aspire to look like that. So it's crazy that we're looking at this like unedited raw photo and we're like, wow, she looks insane. But even that isn't up to her kind of standards, those beauty standards, which is just insane that like she feels like that, which is what I'm assuming. Obviously this is just allegedly. So yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think? I do feel a bit sorry for her, because I just think it's, you know, it's not well, yeah, social media is toxic, but it's just sad, I think, that she feels the need to do that, because I think anyone would kill for that body, and it was just such a normal photo, you know, the kind of photos that they probably have in their family albums. So next I'm going to go in with the shade Golden Hour, So next I'm going to go in with the shade Golden Hour, which is the peachy colour in the palette. I'm literally just going to use it on the same brush, because why not? Why not? So I'm just going to keep building that up until I'm happy with the intensity. Then I'm going to go straight in with the shade Lovesick, and that is going to go on the very edge of that peach. So I'm just really pushing that colour in. And also, if you apply it when your eyes are open, you'll just ensure that you'll see the colour when you're looking straight forward. Then on the very outer corner, I'm going to use the shade Euphoria, which is the more lilac colour. I'm going to switch my brush now. So this is stained, it's not actually dirty. This is a 221 by MAC. And that is going to go right on the edge of the corner, right on the outer corner. So as you can see, this one is more lilac. Kind of create almost like a winged out shape. So you can just follow your lash line and kind of flick it outwards. So I'm just going to use that same P. Louise base. Oops. And I'm going to pop that underneath the lower lash line, and again that's just going to help the bases pop. Then we're going to kind of mimic the top, but with more of the greeny colours in the palette. But I'm going to use this lilac shade on the very outer corner and kind of connect it to that lilac, because this is kind of a bit more of like a bluey lilac. And literally just pop that on the outer corner, kind of work it upwards as well so it blends into that lilac on the outer corner. And I'm just going to go back in with that Euphoria colour just to help merge the two together. So the next colour that we're going to go in with is the shade Cloud Free. So obviously it's a lot of colours, but you know, it's a kind of rainbow look, and it's quite easy to do, I think, because it's just, I think because they're pastel-y colours, they're just easier to blend as well. And that colour is kind of going more in the centre, but we're still kind of blending it into the colour next to it. just to ensure it's nice and seamless. And then same exact thing with the shade Days. Just trying to make sure I've got enough room to fit all the colours on. So you may kind of, hello Levi, hello, you on camera? You're out of focus. You kind of may have to, unless you've got like really big eyes, you may have to kind of like work the colours on top of each other. And obviously you don't have to use all of them, but I'm just being extra. And then lastly, on the very inner corner, we're going to use the shade Serenity, which is this lime green here. It's definitely my favourite colour in the palette. How nice is that? This is the colour that I used in my last tutorial. Or would you have seen this one already? I'm not sure. Depends which one I like better, because I'll edit. I basically filmed that one yesterday, but I will basically edit whichever one I like best. So the final thing to kind of do is just to re-intensify each shade. So you may have to kind of go in a couple times just to really enhance that colour. So I'm just going to wipe off the excess from that brush before and just lightly blend it under those eyeshadows, just so they're not too harsh. So I'm going to pop a little bit of highlighter on my brow bone. So I'm going to use the Jaclyn Hill Bomb Highlighter on the brow bone, because this whole look is kind of all matte. I feel like it will work quite nicely. Hi, my name's Dolce with 2 eyes. Stunning. So I'm just going to apply some mascara now. So this is the Extended Play Giga Black Lash by MAC. She's just going to put the lightest amount on, mainly just to coat the lashes, to get rid of the powder on them. And then the lashes that, oh, what am I wearing? And then the lashes that I have today are called Milan by Lilly Lashes. So I just like to look straight down in my mirror. Also, is there anything more annoying when you've got glue on your fingers and then you put it down with your finger and then it peels it back up and you're like, are you fucking me? Sorry, excuse my language. So I've got this freckle pen by Barry M to create some faux freckles. So it's just one of those things that kind of has to be random, so you kind of have to pop it on for a few seconds and then dab it with your finger, because obviously that is like way too strong, and then just go over it, and then you kind of get like a transfer with what's like kind of left. Like, I don't mind them too strong, and also when I take an Instagram photo, the lights kind of like wash my skin out, so I almost need them a little bit stronger. Sorry, my nose ring is annoying me. So I don't know like how intense they look on the actual camera. Okay, and then for lips, we're going to keep it really simple, seeing as the eyes are pretty colourful. So I'm going to go in with Soar Lip Liner by MAC. And then I'm just going to keep it really simple and go in with a gloss. So this is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Sweet Mouth. Guys, this is literally my favourite gloss ever. Like, I just feel like it's the kind of like the, I don't know how to explain it. It just has a really nice high shine to it without it being like too sticky. Oh, I'm never sure about freckles. Like, I really like them, but I'm worried that they look stupid on camera. But it's fine. Whatever, we're moving on. If you don't like them, then that's fine. Okay, so that is pretty much the finished look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed something a little bit more colourful today, and hopefully you learned something as well. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Please leave me a comment down below, let me know what you thought, and also give this video a thumbs up because it also pushes my video out to other people as well, so it really does help me out. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next, and you'll see me in my next one. Bye!